this is Noreen from Joya Cards, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And welcome to my YouTube channel. Yay! For more of my Stampin' Up card videos, please remember to hit that subscribe button and the little bell, and you'll be notified when my videos come up. Also, if you want to place a Stampin' Up order or to be a part of my demonstrator team, which I have a huge community of people, and we help you with the whole social media thing and all that, go to my video description and click on those links and you'll be taken care of. But anyway, let's do something different. Now, this is a card from the mini catalog. Yay! Now, this is coming out in January. If you're part of my mailing list, you probably have one coming in the mail. And also celebration. So, whoopsie, you're not supposed to show that. So when you purchase from the mini catalog, you get things for free in celebration. So that's awesome. And one of the things in the catalog is Simply Succulent. Say that 3 times fast. And it, of course, has dies and a matching stamp set. And we're going to be using the sentiments from the stamp set, but we're going to focus on this amazing die. These are the dies that come, and this one is just incredible. And I came up with so many ideas that we're going to do 3 really fast. So, and we're also going to, if you notice on this part of my magnetic thing here, in this die set, you get 2 double sentiment dies. So you get 2 of like these square ones here, and you get 2 of the, you know, almost like rectangle ones there. These are really incredibly useful to have. In fact, I kind of separate my dies from the ones that have sentiment dies on them from all the other ones, because you know you kind of lose these if you put them in the boxes. So I have these separated out. But this is an incredible set, and this die is so versatile, and it's for an intricate die, it cuts really well. You're not going to sit there for 5 years trying to poke all the little thingies out. It cuts well, and you can do so many things with it. So let's go ahead and get started. The reason why we're doing 3 cards is basically that big die is in all 3 of them. So, and we're going to be using both the negative and the positive. Like this one is the die, which is I'm using as like a stencil. So I stenciled this one and kept the stencil part and made it on top of the card. This is also the background of the stencil, but if you notice, these flowers are cut from the stencil. So let me go ahead and let's start with the bases. They're all going to be Magenta Madness, the 5.5 by 4.25. On this card, we're also going to be using ornate layers with this die. And then on the second one, we're going to be using mini medallions, and we're going to be using this die. So our first step is we're going to take this awesome die, and we're going to take 2 pieces of shimmery white. You want to use shimmery white, cut 5.5 by 4.25. You're going to take this die and you're going to put it in the middle of that paper, and grab whatever tape you like using to hold things down with. I like the yellow frog tape, painter's tape, believe it or not. And I'm going to tape this down onto my die cutting plate, and I'm going to run these through. And you're going to make 2 of these. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back. Now that you've got your 2 cuts here, you're going to grab 2 more of the shimmery white cut 5.5 by 4.25. And I'm going to take some tape that doesn't stick very well. The teal one from the big box store works best. Also, make sure you take your pick tool, and if you find any little hanging chads, you poke them out. But I'm going to go ahead and tape the sides here for sure, and a few in the middle. And then I'm also going to take your pick tool, and I'm going to get rid of some of that webbing that happens when you tape. So I'm going to do that real quick. Now that you know all that webbing is out, you're going to go ahead and put it directly over that card base you just cut. Now that you've got that low tack tape onto your shimmer white base here, and we're using low tack because we're going to be using these separately, so I want them to come apart. And go ahead and grab some scratch paper, and guess what? In the new catalog, Stampin' Up! Now has blending brushes, and these are fantastic. So grab your blending brushes when you get them, and then also your Mango Melody, Calypso Coral, and Magenta Madness. And we're gonna start with the lightest color. You always start with the lightest color first. So we're gonna do the Mango Melody. You tap off and you start going in. So I'm gonna fill up this entire piece here with Mango Melody. Now that you finish that first piece, guess what? Do the second one at the same time. So ink it up, tap it off, and swirl it in. So I'm going to do this and I'll be right back. Once the Mango Melody is done, you're going to go to your Calypso Coral and basically do the same thing. Ink it up, tap it off, and I'm going to start with the flowers and just kind of give it some sporadic color. I don't want to necessarily color the whole thing, but I do want to hit the flowers. So I'm going to give it some intermittent color here, not filling in the entire piece. And then I'm going to do the second one as well. So we're doing basically 1 die, 3 cards. Oops, I didn't tap off. So this is kind of fun. Now to Magenta Madness, and this is definitely a darker color, so you want to 100% make sure you tap off and then grab it. And I'm going to concentrate on the flower part. This is not all flowers there. That you finish doing all 3 colors, kind of give it a good look-see and see how you want to really kind of blend things out. If you want to put more Calypso Coral in certain places, just kind of do it however you want it to kind of look. If you want to get rid of some of the yellow, I would start with the Calypso Coral first, and then if you want to fill in a little more Magenta Madness, then go for it then. So I'm gonna like do my little color fix and then I'll be right back. So that's what I'm gonna reveal here. So let me close everything up and we'll pull it off. Now for the big reveal. So let's pull these off and look how beautiful that is. Now we're gonna use all this stuff here. So let's start with the first card. We've got our 5.5 by 4 1/4 Magenta Madness. And then just on the inside, I cut a piece of the Calypso Coral 5 1/4 by 4, and I just stuck it on the inside. But let's get to the front here. So I'm gonna take this piece and I'm gonna snail it and put it on the entire card front. Now I'm gonna take the die cut, which is now basically a stencil, and I'm gonna cut the flowers out of it. I'm gonna make these 2 flowers here. Now all you need to do is kind of look at it, get something behind it. That's why I put this behind, and decide where you think the flower really begins and ends. Like I'm gonna cut this off here and this off. You can get 4 flowers out of this stencil, and what's great is it's already your custom colors with what you did here. So I'm going to cut out the flowers and I'll be right back. So these are the flowers you're going to get out of that little stencil there. I'm going to put that to the side, and when you're done cutting those out, you do want to go through and take off all those little nib looking things from cutting off the little ends. And after you're done with that, go ahead and take your Calypso Coral brush that you used and just kind of give it a quickie on the edges, because you might uncover some of the shimmer white behind it. So once you've got that done, go ahead and take a piece of Daffodil Delight and snail up your flowers and stick them on the card. And then you're going to go ahead and do a quickie little cut around it, just a fussy cut around it. So I'm going to do my fussy cut and I'll be right back. Now that you've cut out your flowers, what you need to do is take this die from Ornate Layers and cut out in Whisper White or Shimmer White, it doesn't matter, one like that, and also one in Vellum. So go ahead and cut those out like I did. And go back to your Potted Succulent dies, and like I said in the beginning of the video, there are 2 sentiment dies the shadow and the front. And technically there are four. There are actually four of these sentiment tags. So this is an awesome, awesome die set because it is just, you could use this for so many things. So go ahead and cut out the larger square one in Magenta Madness, and then the smaller one in Calypso Coral like I've done. And then we're going to be using two kinds of ribbon. We're going to be using the 2022 in color ribbon, which is basically Bumblebee, and then also the Snowflake Splendor ribbon. Now the holiday catalog is coming to an end here at the end of December, so this will probably, if it's still available, grab it right away. This is such a great ribbon. But cut off 4 pieces of each, but make 2 of these and 1 of these. Got all our pieces. Now all we need to do is lay it down. Now this vellum kind of curled when I die cutted it, so even though you can see through vellum, I'm gonna just put a little on the edges because I don't think you're going to see it because there's a lot going on with this pattern. So I just went ahead and snailed that up, and I'm going to stick this right in the middle and try to get those edges down. Let's go ahead and stamp the sentiment. So we're going to be using Thanks from Simply Succulents, and I'm going to go ahead and use Magenta Madness and stamp it on that Coral Calypso. So I went ahead and took the flowers and I put a bunch of dimensionals on the back, and I'm going to position these on the card like so. And then I'm going to take my sentiments here and put these on. But before we put those sentiments on, we're going to do our little ribbon. So go ahead and take some glue dots, and you take your pick tool, and I want you to take all 3 of those ribbons we cut out, 2 of these clear ones and 1 of the 2021, and just make a loop. So I'm just putting a glue dot at the end and putting the ends together like so. Backtrack a little bit. I took off that dimensional here, and then I've snailed it, and then I layered it, and then I snailed it again for the ribbon, and now I'm going to put that second dimensional on, and then we're going to put this on the card like so, and take our sentiment and put it in the middle like that. And then all we have to really do is the inside. So I'm going to go ahead and snail this in, and then I'm going to stamp from Simply Succulents, the Kind People, in Magenta Madness. So I'm just going to stamp this up, and this is card number 1. So let's move on to the second card. On the second card, you're going to take the second one that you brushed up, and we're going to cut all the white off. So I'm going to go cut these up. Now the white's off. I actually made this 5 by 3 7/8, and I'm going to go ahead and put it right there in the middle. Then you're going to take this die from Many Medallions, and in Calypso Coral you're going to cut out 4 of these. So I went ahead and cut 4 of these, and I taped them up, and I just snailed them, and I'm going to place these at the I'm going to start with the top, and I'm going to have the solid ones hanging on the end, and I'm not going to cut off the edges yet. Then I'm going to take another one that I've already snailed up, and I'm going to hook it in that little arrowed piece there so it kind of fits in there. Oh, I got a hanging chad, so make sure you don't have any hanging chads there. And continue this all the way down. Okay, and then take another one, and I'm going to put it in that little arrowed piece there and bring it all the way over. Hang that over the edge. And take my last one that I've snailed up, and all you have to do is just, snail it up. It's simple. And I'm going to take this and put it right on top. Then just cut off whatever you don't want hanging. So I'm going to cut this part, and I'm going to do all corners. I'll be right back. So all we have to do now to finish this up is to stamp our sentiments, and we're done. So let's go ahead we're going to use another sentiment from Simply Succulents, and it's going to be You've Been on My Mind, and I'm going to do it in Magenta Madness. I'm going to stamp the inside, which is another stamp from Simply Succulents, and you make the ordinary extraordinary, and then also the flower from the same stamp set, and just do that. And let's go ahead and put our sentiment on, and I'm using the mini dimensionals. I just love these things because they're awesome, and put it on top of its shadow. I just snailed the back of the sentiment here and put it on, and that's the second card. Now the third card, which is even easier because you got most of this already done. So you're going to take that second die cut that you colored, and you're going to snail it up. So go ahead and snail the edges, snail the middle where the sentiment is, and then you're going to take a 5.5 by 4 1/4 shimmery white piece of paper here. Put that on. Then cut out your sentiments from Potted Succulents in these two dies here. Grab your Calypso Coral and You've Been on My Mind, and we're going to stamp this piece here in the Calypso Coral. Then grab your shadow piece, put some dimensionals behind it, put it on the card. Then take that one you just stamped and put it on top. Then go ahead and snail up your card base and put it on the card base itself. And then on the inside, of course, we've got that 5 1/4 by 4 of the Calypso Coral. Then we're going to take a piece of shimmery white in 3.75 by 5. Go ahead and snail it up. Put it in the middle here. And then we're going to take Magenta Madness and Thanks, and we're going to stamp that and put it in the middle. And then the last thing you're going to do is take the die from Potted Succulents, and it's going to be this little flower one here, and cut one in Magenta Madness and one in Calypso Coral. Now here's a very important thing. You never want to snail something this intricate and put it inside your card. And the reason is because when you close up that card, it's going to stick together. So take your fine tip glue. I love the Stampin' Up! Fine tip glue. I don't use really anything other than that when it comes to glue. And go ahead and put little dots on it. Take your tweezers and put it on where you want it here, and take your tweezers here and put it on your card here. And that's the third card. And those are 3 cards, basically using one big die for 3 cards, very different looking. So that's do it. And if you like any of these cards, I give away the demo card. If you're a first-time subscriber and you put a comment and you like the card and leave your email, I'll email you back, get your address, and mail out. So I've got 3 cards to give away. So you get, I've got 3 people to give out cards. So subscribe. Bye.